The Guam Waterworks Authority has announced that a 2% decrease in your water bill took effect at the start of this month, or July 1st. Consolidated Commission on Utilities Chairman Simon Sanchez explains this is because GWA was able to pay off the remainder of the $9 million it owed to the U.S. Navy since 2003. This was for water purchases to supply the villages of Santa Rita, Agate, and Petey. The decrease actually started last year when GWA paid off what it owed to the Guam Power Authority with the final installment of its 11.5% regulatory surcharge, which took care of a $15 million debt.
Last October, we had finished paying off GPA, so we were able to reduce the surcharge from 11.5% to 2%. So we knocked water bills down almost 10% last October. Well, now the remaining 2% has been paid off, and the surcharge, which is designed only for specific things, now is no longer needed. So on July 1st, everyone's water bill should have shown a reduction of the water bill by about 2%.
But while this is great news, Sanchez warns this is the calm before another storm of rate increases. He says GWA will attempt to borrow $200 to $300 million in the next 3 to 4 years to bring all of its wastewater facilities into compliance with the Clean Water Act and the District Court order. Another issue is how GWA will come up with $20 million to comply with Public Law 30-145. This is something Sanchez mentions the Public Utilities Commission will hear.
Tonight, the PUC will be listening to a presentation from GWA about reprogramming the 2010 bond that we floated to dedicate almost all that money to the court order that we have before us. There is an opposing view. The administrative law judge, Mr. Mayer, has proposed that GWA not be allowed to reprogram all of the $87 million, but that we reserve $20 million to implement Public Law 30-145, which requires GWA to give $20 million to the general fund. GWA disagrees with the administrative law judge and is asking the PUC not to reserve the funding.
Sanchez explains if GWA were to reserve the $20 million to pay back the general fund now, they will end up being short to comply with the court order, and that will invite adverse participation by U.S. EPA and the court. But what they also don't want to do is implement an 18% increase surcharge for 18 months suggested by the administrative law judge last year to obtain the money.
An 18% surcharge on top of everything else is not a good answer. To reserve $20 million that can't be used to meet the federal court order, we don't think that's a very good answer either. Our position is it is up to GWA to determine when to borrow the money. And when we determine how to borrow to borrow the money, then we'll bring that idea to the PUC. But that GWA hasn't broken any laws in only borrowing $220 of $240 million, and we believe that GWA is within its right to determine when to borrow the remaining $20 million required by 3145.